What's good, YouTube? Just a casual nerd here, back again with another video. And if I sound a little different, I'm just testing out this a little other audio setup. So bear with me. And I know it's been a minute since you heard from me, so I'm gonna just get right into it today. And I probably won't be too long. I'm just gonna kind of go off the top of my head real quick on this little topic. I think comic book movies have a villain problem, and what I mean by that, or to be more specific rather, is I believe a lot of these comic book movies currently, the problem with the villains is that they are too big for the hero. A lot of times they're too big for the movie that they're trying to portray. A lot of times they have these villains which they have a good arc. It's a good villain and a good hero, but it divulges into a villain who wants to, I don't know, take over the world or destroy the planet or take over the universe, when really the character just needs someone to, face for it. It could be isolated in that city or isolated in this town, or as a more isolated area, or the villain needs to have more of sort of a mission that's not always world domination, taking over the world or taking over the universe. I think, of course, you need those for comic book movies. Of course, if you want to have your Avengers films, your Justice League films, or even Superman. Superman and Zod, that's understandable. It's a Superman level threat for his film, for the Man of Steel film that I'm referring to. But other movies, it really messes up the dynamic for me personally, or messes up the story that they're telling. Take for example, Ant-Man, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. In my opinion, there's no reason Ant-Man should be facing Kang in that film. I know you want to bring in Kang, and Ant-Man played a big part of the last phases and everything, but to me, Kang should have been reserved for just another entry, or introduce him in another way, not be the main villain in the Ant-Man film. What made the other two Ant-Man films work, which the first one to me was a little better, but better than the second one at least, but it was isolated. I know he was basically just facing a doppelganger of himself, but it was an isolated event. It wasn't about world domination. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure. What's his name? I forget his name. Not the Wasp, Bumblebee, whatever he was, that villain. I don't think his mission was world domination or anything, but it worked because it was isolated. Even if it's just like a heist film, it works for Ant-Man. But when you jump to him having to save basically the multiverse, that's too large of a jump for Ant-Man, in my opinion. Now, if that's something he did in the comics, then I guess you can correct me on that. I'm just saying how it works for the movies, at least. Forgive me, I'm just a casual here. Another instance, if you look at the first Suicide Squad movie, why in the world were they facing Enchantress? Enchantress was trying to, I don't know, what was she even trying to do? Take over the world, or something she was trying to do, but that should have been like a heist film or something that they was trying to, attain. Now, the second one, I know they had, what was his name? Starro. It was a little bit of a bigger villain, as well. I wasn't too big a fan of Starro, but for some reason it worked because it was isolated on an island and not, like on a world stage. So for that one, it kind of works. I kind of forgave it for that. But in Suicide Squad 1, I forgot what city they were in, but it was explicit that they had to quote unquote save the world. And I'm like, Suicide Squad does not need to be doing a save the world type of film. I mean, I know sometimes the things that they steal, it has more parameters or is bigger than them, but it doesn't seem like that for the actual film. Okay. Some other examples, I think some of the best comic book movies you've seen. You think of like The Dark Knight with the Joker. Think of Captain America, Winter Soldier. Those, you had a villain or the antagonist of those films. Their intention had nothing to do with the entire world stage or the multiverse. I mean, Joker, he just wants to cause some chaos in Gotham City, it seems like. But it works for the story, and it became one of the greatest, comic book movies. Think of even Spider-Man 2, the OG one with Tobey Maguire, of course, with Doc Ock. Now, I get it. Okay, yeah, he did kind of create a mini sun that could have, taken out a large portion of Earth if it kind of probably got to that extent. But it was very much so of an isolated thing. That wasn't really the big thing. It was more so still New York City. It was still kind of controlled, but it worked. It really worked. And even if you fast forward, think of the Mandarin and Shang-Chi. And I know at the end they kind of brought the dragons that it could have done some stuff outside of that area. But the Mandarin, his whole thing was, hey, he was like, hey, I just want my family back. I'm just trying to, get my wife back alive, bring her back to life. And that kind of was the catalyst of the film where Shang-Chi had to fight him and stop him because his mission had ramifications that could, do other things or cause other people harm. Now, to me, those are better than if they have to fight a villain and the villain it goes on a world scale. Now, think about the Black Panther films. For me personally, I know a lot of people will disagree with this, but like with Killmonger, Black Panther one with Killmonger, I think it was good. I really like the story. I like, they were going tit for tat, him and T'Challa. And kind of divulged a little bit for me when it kind of got on a world scale where they had to stop this so that it doesn't take over or doesn't attack all these other countries, which I totally get it for the storyline. It does make sense. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense, but it starts to lose some of its, I don't know, its person or its personality a little bit. I think it kind of got away a little bit at the end there. I'm not even talking about the CGI. It just kind of got a little bit away from them at the end because it kind of just expanded out of Wakanda. Now, like I said, I understand that, and I still like the film. Now, if you go to Wakanda Forever, you have Namor, which I think that story would have even been better if they had, I don't know, like down there, the submariners or whatnot. Maybe they was running out of vibranium or the source was being disconnected and they had to, I don't know, fight Wakanda or take it from Wakanda or something like that. Yeah, that's probably not the best. I'm just, again, going off the dome a little bit here. But yes, I think something like that, something a little bit more controlled would have been better versus, I have to stop Namor or he's going to destroy the planet, basically. So you get kind of hopefully you're kind of getting the difference here. I think when the story for these kind of movies are more isolated, it just makes it, it forces you to tell better stories. It forces better storytelling. It makes it more personal. But when you start going into, hey, this hero, basically when every hero in every movie starts having to do something to save the entire planet, then it makes the big ensemble movies, it gives them less importance to me. I'm like, okay, well, this character just had to save the world, and now this smaller character just had to save the world. Now you're just gonna get together to save the world. It just seems like y'all can take care of it, on your own. It seems like. So I believe I just want comic movies to not kind of lose that. And I don't think it's totally gotten away from that, but I don't want it to continue and to get worse. Because it's really gonna lose its power in telling these individual stories. Now, I do like having, the universe is connected and everything. And I think that is a big part of it while that's happening. But I believe it can still be done, tell these isolated stories while still having these, world, these other villains who are trying to destroy the world, take over, all that good stuff, still in the universe. So what do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Or you have some counterpoints? Whatever you think, just comment below. I'll be looking to hear from you. All right. But what are you listening to me for anyway? I'm just a casual. Cue the outro.